most brands don't rely on great operators. It's more of the systems, which is really the key to franchising, like especially knowing your guys' top store last year, $2.5 million in revenue, and the person operating it had zero restaurant experience.
The reason we can get away with not having somebody with food experience, we just need somebody with some business savvy and who can really run a team. You need to be able to run a team, not have to actually do some of these works. And we have the systems in play for that, which is kind of like 70% of our business. It's pretty much a remote training tool and it keeps everybody accountable. We have a huge tech stack that makes it easy. We built like a really good community here in South House and we're all helping each other.
Jarrod, welcome. Super excited to talk to you about the operations of Salad House. Most brands don't rely on great operators. It's more of the systems, which is really the key to franchising. So I'm excited to break down what you guys do and support people, especially knowing your guys' top store last year, $2.5 million in revenue, and the person operating it had zero restaurant experience. So excited to dive in.
Thanks for having me, Bennett. Happy to provide any clarity on how we make it easy for you.
Yeah. So you're the director of operations and you're also a franchisee. Can you tell me a little bit about your day-to-day role with Salad House?
Yeah. Outside, I'll talk first more on the corporate side. Obviously, wake up every day. I like to always check in with my personal store first. That's in Montclair. Check with my manager, Justin, make sure everything's good over there. A day to day for me, just running a lot of data. We're a very data driven brand. Checking in on store sales numbers, making sure everyone has their ops updates completed, and really just checking in with the franchisees, checking franchisee support chat, just to make sure everyone's ready to run a successful day.
So tell me whether somebody has zero food experience or franchise experience or tons, where does Salad House start it in supporting them with operations? So maybe we begin with what's the initial training before the grand opening even happens?
Yeah, just provide a little light on that. I think, people buy into a franchise because we have the experience and the knowledge to give them. The reason we can get away with, not having somebody with food experience, we just need somebody with some business savvy and who can really run a team. You need to be able to run a team, not have to actually do some of these works. And we have the systems in play for that. What Salad House does for a franchisee before they come signing in, you're going to have about 10 to 15 hours of some admin back end training. There's a little more to come with that, but it's kind of one of those things. Once you get in there, you're kind of poking around yourself. We give you all the basics, and then you find out all the nitty gritty it can do. When it comes to in-store training, we have what I would say is a pretty extensive training program compared to most food brands. You're required to do 80 hours of on-site training with us, up to 3 people of your choice. We do recommend the store operator, maybe somebody at the back of house position and somebody at the salad bar position. So you're very well rounded and you're hitting all the job titles. It's going to be 80 hours split into 2 weeks. First week, we have you coming in for opening shifts only. So you can see the operation from open till about the end of lunch, which is kind of like 70% of our business. And then the following week is more of a nighttime. So you can see what it's like in that 3 to closing window, see what our closing operations are like, and entering inventories for the next day.
So you mentioned you're doing half the shifts, kind of morning to after lunch, 70% of the revenue, and then the other half closing. What are the normal store hours, and how does it vary from franchise location to franchise location?
Yeah, so all our stores open at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. We typically ask locations to start with 10 a.m., run it for a few months, and then scale it back as needed. We come to realize that a lot of offices, the doctor's offices, the salons, the lawyers' offices, a lot of them sometimes like to get their lunch orders before 11 o'clock, and now you've missed that window and that opportunity to gain that customer. So opening at 10, you get it's not a busy time 10 to 11, but you do start seeing those, hey, $100 office order came in at 10:15, but they don't want it till 11. And if you were open and if you stayed open at 11 and not 10, you would have never gotten that order. As far as closing, we do 8 or 9 o'clock, and it's kind of the same deal. We want you to start with 9 o'clock, but if you do 8 o'clock, we realize that your online ordering kind of stops at 7:15, and you're missing that like 7:15 to 8:15 window of people doing the late night dinner orders. So we do encourage you to stay open till 9, at least for 6 months, and then from there to kind of make the decision whether or not to roll it back an hour.
Awesome. And you guys are working with franchisees on what makes sense, obviously, for their area, with your guys' experience and recommendation. And then the other
Absolutely.
thing you talked about is the training, because I love the training you guys do, full week of, that online training, and then I'm coming out to New Jersey to see exactly how a great store operates for 2 whole weeks, half closing, half opening, and then you're coming out to my store for an entire 2 weeks. So, you mentioned I could take 3 people out there with me, so I'm going out there and 2 other people. Is it usually business partners? Is it I'm already hiring employees at that point and I'm asking them to come out with me? What's the recommendation? What do you guys see on that?
We like to do it as closely as possible to your store opening. So when it begins, we obviously want the franchisee to be there, preferably a store manager operator, unless they are operating it themselves. Some people choose to be an owner operator, and 2 other people if they've hired them already. But the 2 most important people is the franchisee and the operator. We will teach them enough in those 2 days, and we have Opus, which is an online training tool, videos of how to make every dish, how to perform every duty in a salad house that they can use to pass on to now train the people that they hire.
I love that. Can you keep going on with Opus? Because Salad House also has a very cool menu with limited time offerings, both soup and Caesars. If I'm not mistaken, there's 2 seasonal soups, which are rotated every quarter, and then a monthly Caesar salad as well. So, as a store owner, how do I know the new recipes and processes that I need to train my employees on?
Yeah, so Opus is something that we pay for as a brand for all our franchisees. It's pretty much a remote training tool and it keeps everybody accountable. So when we have new soups or a new Caesar of the month coming out, what's going to happen? You're going to get a push notification from Opus along with an email from us and along with a notification on our Google chats, just so we hit all the hit points to make sure you see it. And that's going to include a link to Opus of the new menu item, the SKU numbers to order, how to make that item with a video on how to actually prepare it, price points, cost of goods, and we will send that all to you. And we can actually see if you guys watch the video. And after the video is done, it prompts you with a quick quiz that you have to pass in order to go to the next module.
So, it's super great for monitoring if employees are actually doing it before you just throw them in there.
Correct. And if we notice, hey, we send that to you about 3 weeks before we launch any product. We typically try and do a month. It's been ending up at about 3 weeks, but you'll have at least 3 weeks advance notice to launch this. And we're constantly checking if, a week and a half is out and we notice you didn't take the module, we're going to be pinging you. We're going to make sure you read it and get ready for that launch.
Yeah. I mean, managing employees and hiring is one of the scariest parts, especially for new owners. How does Solid House help support franchisees through building that first team?
Yeah, I think with any restaurant, the turnover sometimes could be a little scary, but I think what sets Salad House apart is, we're not just putting toppings on top of something. We have a pathway to build like a true career here. We promoted people from within to managerial roles to overseeing multiple corporate stores. And as you expand your footprint, we're hoping you're not just getting one salad house here. You want to build a little empire, not just a job. And as you start growing out, there's a pathway there to really build some careers and keep people on your team. Stuff we do for you to help with your opening. We have all the hiring and job posting ads there for you through our connection with ADP. You have free postings on Indeed and ZipRecruiter. So that is all covered for you. And then part of our requirements from our ops team before you open is you have to give us a 2-week completed schedule based on the shifts we give you. Without that approval, make sure you have every slot filled in. We're not going to let you open. It's not because we don't want you to open, it's because we want you to open successful. And these are the keys to success.
Earlier, you'd mentioned about, we're looking for owners that want to build multiple stores because there's so many advantages. Because after you've gone through like the learning curve of the first store, now I go to the second store. But we also want owners to be in their business, right? So I'm an owner, I'm in there, I bring a manager out to training, but I'm still in there every day for the first so many months while I'm getting comfortable. What does it look like for me to actually step out of my salad house from a day to day basis and start opening up stores 2 and 3. And then I would love anything on your experience, how many hours you spend on your personal store as well.
Yeah, I think that really all comes down to team building. When I opened Montclair myself, I was there a lot the first 6 months. The first two, call it 2 weeks to a month, I was eating, sleeping, breathing, working the line, being there with my staff, making sure my guests are being taken care of. But then I realized that my staff was trying to, they saw how I operated, how I wanted the guest experience to be. And I have a great manager in Justin who's still with me to this day. Once I saw that he kind of didn't need me there, I was able to not really leave the business, but I was able to concentrate on different avenues of business. So now I was, instead of me having to be on the floor, take care of customers, I was able to get out into the community, go introduce myself to the local businesses, say, "Hey, I'm new in town. I'm the owner," and drop off some cards or just introduce myself. Go buy my pet food in town from the local pet shop of the owner there. Go get my hair cut in town. Go work out in the gym there in my salad house gear, and really start to build a brand community. And something I really like to do is get in, like, all my marketing I like to do on a local level. I sponsor local baseball teams. I want to know what the schools are doing. Do you need an ad out in your school play? And these are the parts of the community that I really like to support. And once you have a strong team in store to do that, that's how you can keep growing your business without actually being in the store.
I love that. I think those examples were amazing, and for those of us here and you're like, "Yeah, that's what I wanna get to," that because that's the fun part about business, is the community aspect and giving back, but at the same time as you're giving back to your brand as well, like, you're still supporting your own store, as you're giving back and doing good with the community, so I love that. With that said, though, so your store, Montclair, that example, you're not in there all the time or really not a ton at all, right? So, I mean,
Yes.
yeah, how many hours a week? And then the follow-up question is, what systems are in place to keep standards high when you're not there every day?
Yeah. So, candidly, I technically don't really have to go there. Like I said, I have a great manager in Justin. My role is really just, if he has, sometimes he'll have trouble enforcing some things with the staff. Maybe, he's not the owner, so I'll
You're the
come
bad
in and
cop.
step in for him. Yeah, it happens, right? So I'm there. Somebody calls out. We have a huge catering that requires extra set of hands. There's a catering going out and he doesn't have a driver for it. I want to make sure it's executed at, an excellent way and make sure it's dropped right and the customer's happy. I'll go do the catering drops, things of that nature. How do I monitor the business when I'm not there? We have a huge tech stack. That makes it easy. Ovation is a guest feedback tool that I've linked on my phone. Anybody who leaves a negative review, I'm knowing instantly. And then the other aspect that we do, that helps me keep, my numbers in line, is I get a prime report every week from my accountant. It shows me my labor and my cost of goods. What am I doing? He sends it to me. I send it to Justin. If his numbers are great, he gets a pat on the back, maybe throw him a little extra money because he hit his numbers. If the numbers aren't great, it's now a discussion point for us. Justin, you didn't hit your labor numbers here. Where did we overstaff? Maybe you over ordered. Maybe you didn't over order. Maybe we have a catering next week. You wanted to get ahead, but we have these open discussions, maybe 30 minutes a week with me and my manager, just to make sure the store's staying on track.
Awesome. Great examples on really I mean, if you had to sum it down, how many hours, though, do you think you're spending?
If you include like remote hours, me checking in with everyone, making sure my manager's good, me popping in there, call it once every week just to make sure everyone's cool, say
Yeah,
hi. They know I'm just not being a stranger. 10 hours a week.
yeah, and that's awesome. And I
And that's on
also
the high side.
yeah, on an high but it's still like when you're step back, you're still overseeing it, and obviously this is the job that you're in every day on from the corporate side as well. So now kind of putting that hat on, I'm like, okay, I'm also managing other stores and I'm in all of the stores helping out with operations. When you see franchisees that, because there's a lot of them that own multiple stores, what are those advantages that you have in multi-unit ownership versus just your first location?
Absolutely. I always say it's easier to own 5 salad houses than 1, right?
Yeah.
You already got the experience now, and what that makes it easier is we hope that if you have 4, 5, 3, 2, whatever it is, they're all in more of a concentrated area. What that makes easier for now, call outs. People who aren't hitting, "Hey, I need 40 hours, you only gave me 30." Well, I have my salad house over here where I need 10 hours of work. So you have this extra layer of staff that you can drop into your different
Mhm.
locations and your network's just got so much bigger. And then another thing is managers, right? Our managers are getting paid roughly around 65,000 a year. But now when you have 2 stores and you have a capable manager, maybe even 3 stores. He could oversee the operations of 3 stores, and you're not paying 3 separate managers at 65. Maybe you take this guy who's been with you since day 1, he's your ride or dies, proven himself, and he's making 90 grand a year to oversee 3 stores, and you just save yourself on these manager salaries at each location.
I love that.
Yeah.
So many different advantages that it's usually if I have one and I have this many issues with one, then I'm going to have twice as many issues with two. But you're not thinking, well, no, I have more marketing dollars. I have more management dollars. I have more employees keeping me from mopping the floors now.
Brand
So I like
awareness
the
too.
scalability, and I like that you guys are already proving it because so many of your franchisees do own multiple stores. So last question for you. If somebody's watching this thinking, I don't have the experience, but I do have the ambition, what would you want them to know about Salad House's support on the operations side?
Yeah, I know some people may look at a food menu and be like, "Oh my god, I've never made a crispy mother clucker in my life. I've never fried a breaded chicken cutlet. I don't know what to do." It's so easy. Most of we make the processes so easy that the breaded chicken's done for you. You have a cook time. We have a recipe for every single ingredient we do at Salad House. We have a video on how to make every single house made item in Salad House. And with our 2 week support that you're getting at your opening, we have a checklist. You need to sign off that you are comfortable with every aspect of Salad House. If you are not comfortable with something, we are going to give you additional training. And our franchise support team, we say we're only available during business hours, but we're a really small group. We love Salad House. We want to see our franchisees succeed. Text us, call us. We will help you. Not only that, we have our Google chat that's open to all franchisees to collaborate together. If you have a problem, there's a good chance that another franchisee is going to reach out and answer to you before even our ops team can. So we built like a really good community here in Salad House, and we're all helping each other.
I love that. I know I said the last question, but can you tell us about the weekly roundtable meeting that you guys do with all of your franchisees to offer additional support?
Yeah, so we have a weekly Friday meeting. We call it a leadership meeting. It's open to any of our franchisees. You just schedule a time with us. We leave it open every Friday for whoever takes the spot. And if it's booked up and you need more time, we will make another time slot for you. So don't feel like it's just this one slot. But on that phone call, you'll have me, director of ops. You'll have our head of branding, Tim Vanos. You'll have our CEO, Jerry Ike, and you'll have our founder, Joey Chaffee, to talk anything you want to talk about Sados. This is your meeting. So if you want to bring something up to us, you're not comfortable with something, you're not understanding something, have this meeting with us. It's there for
Yeah.
you.
And the reason I bring that up is because it's like, okay, we went over training and all that, but what's the ongoing support? And the ongoing support, if I heard you correctly, is not submit a support ticket and wait. It's you can have everybody's attention on a meeting for you, and you have the opportunity to do that every single week. We set the
Absolutely.
time aside. So awesome, Jared. What you guys are building is amazing. Congrats, and it's so cool to see how well you guys are using your operations and also your technology to build such a cool brand.
Bennett, I really appreciate you having me.